If you've owned your RCFE for years, let me ask you a question. Could you sell it without your employees finding out too early, without worrying your residents and their families, without disrupting your referral relationships, and without creating unnecessary uncertainty throughout your business? The answer is yes, but only if the process is handled thoughtfully. Today, I'm going to show you how experienced RCFE owners prepare for a confidential sale while protecting the business they've worked so hard to build. Welcome to RCFE Deal Room. I'm Corpus. If you're buying, selling, or investing in residential care facilities for the elderly in California, this channel is designed to help you make smarter decisions and avoid costly mistakes. In our last episode, we talked about what buyers ask during due diligence and how sellers can prepare long before listing their RCFE. Today, I want to discuss one of the biggest concerns I hear from RCFE owners. Dale, how can I sell my RCFE without everyone finding out? It's a fair question. When you're running an RCFE, you're not just managing a business. You're caring for residents, supporting families, leading employees, working with referral partners, maintaining relationships with regulators. The last thing most owners want is unnecessary rumors or uncertainty while they're exploring their options. The good news is many RCFE sales are handled confidentially, but confidentiality doesn't happen by accident. It requires planning, communication, and the right strategy. Today, I'll walk you through how experienced owners prepare for a confidential sale while protecting the business they've worked so hard to build. Let's get started. Number one, decide whether you're gathering information or ready to sell. Before telling anyone, ask yourself one simple question. Am I gathering information or am I actually ready to sell? Those are two very different things. Sometimes owners simply want to understand today's market. They want to know what buyers are looking for, what their business might be worth, and what they could do over the next few years to strengthen it. Other owners are ready to move forward. Knowing where you are helps determine what happens next. I've spoken to owners who had no intention of selling for another 3 or 4 years. They simply wanted to understand how buyers think. Those conversations didn't put their business on the market. They give the owners a roadmap so they could prepare while they still had plenty of time. Planning doesn't create pressure. It creates options. Number two, keep the circle small. One mistake I occasionally see, too many people know too soon. The more people who know, the harder confidentiality becomes. Early on, your circle may only include your spouse, your CPA, your attorney, your financial advisor, and your broker. And that's enough. Everyone else can be brought into the conversation when the timing is appropriate. Confidentiality is much easier to maintain when information is shared intentionally instead of casually. Number three, protect your employees. One of the biggest concerns owners have is their staff. What happens if employees find out I'm considering selling? It's a valid concern. Employees may be asking themselves, will I lose my job? Should I start looking somewhere else? The reality is most buyers want experienced employees to stay. A stable team is one of the most valuable assets an RCFE can have. I've seen transactions where nearly every employee stayed after the sale because the transaction was handled professionally. The new owner took time to build trust. The seller introduced everyone properly, and residents continued receiving excellent care. A thoughtful transition protects everyone. Number four, protect your residents and their families. Families choose an RCFE because they trust the people providing care. If they suddenly hear the business is being sold, it's natural for them to worry. Will caregivers leave? Will routines change? Will my loved one have to move? Those concerns are understandable. That's why communication matters. In many successful transitions, residents continue receiving the same quality care. The ownership changes. The commitment to residents shouldn't. Number five, work only with qualified buyers. Not everyone who asks about your RCFE should receive confidential information. One reason many owners work with experienced brokers is to help qualify buyers before sensitive information is shared. I've seen situations where owners received inquiries from people who were simply curious. They weren't financially qualified. They weren't serious buyers. Filtering those conversations early protected the owner's privacy and kept confidential business information where it belonged. Not every inquiry deserves a tour. Not every inquiry deserves your financials. Qualified buyers earn access through the process. Number six, share information in stages. Confidential sales don't mean sharing everything on day one. Think of the process like opening doors one at a time. General information comes first. As buyers demonstrate they're serious, additional financial information may be shared. Then, once appropriate, agreements are in place. Due diligence begins. Information should be earned through the process, not handed out all at once. That protects everyone involved. Number 7, plan the transition before closing. One of the smartest things an owner can do is think beyond the day escrow closes. Ask yourself, how will employees be informed? How will families hear the news? Who introduces the new owner? Will there be overlap? Will I stay involved for a short transition period? Some of the smoothest RCP transitions I've seen involve the seller staying involved for a brief period after closing. They introduce the new owner to staff, referral partners, families, and key vendors. They created continuity. It reduced anxiety, and it helped everyone feel more comfortable with the transition. One thing to point out is that confidentiality doesn't mean secrecy forever. Here's an important distinction. Confidentiality protects the business during the sales process. Eventually, the appropriate people need to know: employees, residents, families, referral partners, vendors. The goal isn't to hide the transaction forever. The goal is to communicate the right information to the right people at the right time. Thoughtful communication builds trust. And here's today's deal room tip. Before you ever begin exploring a sale, make a simple list. Write down every group that could be affected: employees, residents, families, referral partners, vendors, regulators. Then ask yourself, when should each group be informed? Planning those conversations before you need them usually creates a much smoother transition. If I could lead every RCFE owner with one piece of advice, it would be this. Confidentiality isn't about hiding something. It's about protecting the business while you thoughtfully explore your options. The owners who usually experience the smoothest transactions aren't usually the ones who negotiate the highest price. They're the ones who prepare. They communicate intentionally, they protect their relationships, and they understand that a successful sale isn't measured only by what happens at closing. It's measured by how well the residents, employees, families, and new owner are positioned for success afterward. If there's one thing I hope you take away from today's episode, it's this. Selling your RCFE doesn't have to create unnecessary disruption. With thoughtful planning, the right team, and a clear communication strategy, it's often possible to protect your employees, your residents, your families, and your business while exploring your options. If you're an RCFE owner in California and you're considering a confidential sale, or you're simply curious about what the process looks like, I'd be happy to have a confidential, no-pressure conversation. Whether you're thinking about selling next year, 5 years from now, or you're just beginning to ask questions, understanding the process today can help you make better decisions tomorrow. Even if you never work with me, I hope these videos help you make better decisions. That's why I created RCFE Deal Room. If you'd like additional educational resources for RCFE buyers, sellers, and investors, visit simplifyseniortransitions.com/RCFE. There you'll find educational videos, tools, and my free RCFE buyer's due diligence checklist. If you found today's episode helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe, and I'd love to hear from you. If you owned an RCFE, what would be your biggest concern about selling confidentially? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. I read every comment, and many future episodes are inspired by your questions. Next time, we'll switch back to the buyer's side and discuss red flags that make me walk away from an RCFE. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Corpus, and I'll see you here next time on RCFE Deal Room.